Welcome to WTF is Web3, where we untangle the uncertainties of Web3 technologies. Be sure to check out the show notes for more information, giveaways, and ways to stay in touch. You're also going to want to make sure that you're subscribed to our podcast, our YouTube channel, and our private group so you don't miss out on exclusive content, freebies, and much more. If this episode seems like it was stripped out of a longer conversation, that's because it was. This is what we call a shallow dip, because it's basically the opposite of a deep dive, where we're going to give you a brief explanation of a concept, a term, or a topic that we just felt you would dig without having to listen to an entire episode. However, if you do want to listen to the entire episode, I invite you to check out the show notes, because that will get you to that longer episode and you can hear everything in context of the original conversation. Now that we've got that explanation out of the way, let's jump into the episode.
Just like that last conversation we had, and kind of like the conversations we've been having, let's stay real high level with this. Like, moon is a big symbolism in the crypto world. We were just talking about the moon. So let's do the 239,000 foot view.
Okay.
So we did Web3 overall. Let's zoom in and focus on one of the topics that we were chatting about last time. I think we should look into some metaverse. I think you have a little bit more experience on this. You're a little bit more exposed to it.
Yeah. What do you want to know?
You've been living in the metaverse for, I don't know, what, 20 years now?
Came to the right guy. Yeah. I mean, I believe in the whole Elon Musk popularized the, why can't I think of the word? Simulation theory. Man, I was like, I know it starts with an S. I was like, substitution simulation theory. So yeah, I mean, we this might be the Matrix. I don't know if you're real. You might be a really convincing, well-written NPC. I don't know, or figment of my imagination. But yeah, the metaverse is something that I have been playing around with for a while, and I think it is very apropos to discuss metaverse, because I think that all of these topics that we discussed in the first episode, especially, are going to have substantial roles in the different metaverses that are out there. Is it Metaverse I? I'm pretty sure it's metaverses, but it sounds more sophisticated if I say Metaverse I to pluralize metaverse. But yeah, there's a number of projects out there. I'm probably too deep to shepherd this conversation, so maybe you tell me what broad stuff, because I could go specific, I could go niche, I could give you my opinions and speculations on certain projects.
Yeah, again, let's take super high level with this. Save
that for another episode.
Yeah, we'll dive deeper as we go a little further. But like, this is the Matrix. We're in the Matrix, man. And you know what I hate about the Matrix? The smell. I hate your stink. That was my Agent Smith.
Agent Smith, that's a good one.
Yeah. All right, so metaverse. Let me tell you what I kind of think the metaverse is, and
I'll tell you how wrong you are.
And then I'll ask you some questions to fill in that knowledge gap that I clearly will have.
Fair enough.
So the metaverse to me isn't necessarily Web3. I think it's kind of Web3 adjacent. It will utilize a lot of the Web3 things, some of the stuff that we were talking about in our last discussion. But the metaverse really is this immersive environment, not that different from these like free roaming video game worlds that have existed for quite some time, but allows you to just be immersed in it and experience a lot of the things you would experience in real life, but in this digital native world. I mean, that's basically the metaverse. What am I missing?
No, I would say that's very accurate. I would say that metaverse is definitely an aspect, a part of Web3. It's one of the components of Web3.
Is it?
I do. Yeah, I think it's part of the entire immersion. As I mentioned, as I kind of like alluded to in the last episode, I was kind of looking at them. I mean, the parallels of, Web 1, 2, and 3 kind of coincide very much if you want to look at dimensions. And the third dimension, or Web 3.0, not that they were named that with any correlation in mind, but I think it's somewhat appropriate if we don't think about it too much, that it's adding depth. So just like adding, going from one dimension to two dimension adds depth and ability, and not literally depth, but another dimension. Then the third dimension is when we, have a significant amount of depth. The Web3 is going to be more immersive experiences that have metaverse involved as part of it, but it's also going to be the intelligence of things in the real world, digital assets, currencies, the immersion of AR and VR possibilities, and AR and VR are also going to be coinciding with the metaverse experiences, as will be cryptocurrencies and DAOs and NFTs. But there will be metaverses where maybe there isn't going to be an AR or VR or cryptocurrency or DAO or NFT engagement. Most of them do have plans to incorporate just about all of those things, but they're not completely dependent upon each other. But we will see a lot of intertwining, especially the larger projects. I think the biggest and most successful metaverse projects will be incorporating all of those, because a true metaverse, I mean, if you think about a great analogy, or a great example, I should say, is the movie Ready Player One, based on the book.
But like
But
that's the metaverse. I feel like
yeah,
that's the model that so many people, when they think metaverse, they think Ready Player One, or maybe Free Guy, which was the newer movie with Ryan Reynolds. But Ready Player One encapsulates just this imagery that people just come up with when you think of metaverse. At least I do.
yes. So there's I mean, a lot of the parallels that I see in a lot of the metaverse projects that I'm aware of, or the ones that I'm particularly interested in, do have a lot of parallels where there will be, it's not just going to be a game. So people like, they'll be like, well, what's the difference between a metaverse and Grand Theft Auto? Well, and actually, it's not super accurate, because you could argue that there are games within Grand Theft Auto. There are different versions of the game, multiplayer. There's
Yes.
even little arcades, different missions. So does start getting in there, but I think where it really becomes the metaverse is where what you do within that platform, portal, dimension, metaverse, that universe, that little whatever, the game. I don't want to call it a game because that seems so limiting, but where it also comes and starts, it can influence your external life by making money within the metaverse. Not to say that you have to be able to make money or conduct commerce in more than just buying more maps like in Call of Duty, but you can actually earn and make money. I think that will be, while it isn't necessary to be described as a metaverse, I think that will be a major component, and where people are actually going to be able to have jobs. And this is already happening. Like in a lot of the metaverses that are already out and functioning, a lot of them very quickly have some way for you to make money, whether you're designing NFTs, you could be making wearables for the avatars, designing houses, buying and trading land, and you're getting real money out of there. And there's services, there's jobs. I've seen job postings for different metaverses where they pay a certain amount an hour for you to be a little avatar hanging out in a certain building for a business, asking people, or answering people's questions and helping them learn how to play the game and navigate and all sorts of stuff like that. It's already
Okay.
there. People just aren't aware of it. All right,
Yeah.
that is going to wrap it up for this shallow dip. But if you want more information and more conversation, I invite you to check out the episode notes and our channel, because not only can you listen to the entire conversation from which this clip was stripped, but there's also going to be more episodes that do a deeper dive on this specific topic. Thank you so much for tuning in. I want to make sure you don't forget to check out the information and the links in the show notes. Some of that stuff is going to get you into freebies and raffles and contests and all sorts of other promotions. But also, we've got a private group dedicated to our listeners and our followers. We would love to see you there, love to see you collaborate, join, and get exclusive content that we are only distributing through these other means. Speaking of distributing through other means, I want to make sure that you're also subscribed to our podcast, our YouTube channel, and again, join that private group so you know everything that we know as soon as we know it.